And I mentioned Laguna Shchita. Are we a Kiddush Hashem in the way we kill animals? And I'm hardly an animal liberationist. But do we have the most humane way of killing? We did have the most humane way to kill animals for most of human history. Do we today? I don't think so. I know one frum Jew who became a vegetarian. He won't eat treif, but he can't eat kosher because it isn't the most humane way to kill an animal. Is that a fair question to raise? Or what about the way kosher veal? Okay, so the animal is killed in a painless way, but it's raised in an incredibly tzar balei chayim way. Does that matter? Or we know it's kosher, end of issue. Are these unfair questions? And then there is the toughest question of all. Does halacha make better people? In the 9 questions people asked about Judaism, Joseph Telushkin and I wrote this book 30 years ago, more. And it's been a wonderful success in the best sense of the word. It has touched people's lives and helped bring people to Judaism. And one of the questions is, if Judaism is supposed to make people better, how do you account for unethical religious Jews? And we have good answers there. I would stand by those answers. But I have to say to you that, and this is the saddest thing, and I wouldn't have said this even 10 years ago. Today I would have to say it's a mixed bag. I wish I could say that on the whole, halacha makes better people. Some people are better. As the Vilna Gaon said, the Torah is like rain. Rain brings out beautiful flowers and poisonous weeds. And there are more poisonous weeds than I would have thought. Let me give you the example from Rabbi Shlomo Riskin, not from me. And I asked him a few times, may I tell the story publicly? He said yes. When he was looking for a Rosh Yeshiva, he went to some of the greatest kollels in America to find a Rosh Yeshiva for his yeshiva. They sent him the finest students, the finest Talmidei Chachamim to Rabbanim for the job. He asked them cold to do Block Gemara with Tosfos, Rishonim, Achronim. They were brilliant. And then he said, I got a question for you. This was obviously individually. If you ordered an electric shaver from a department store owned by a non-Jew, and by accident they sent you a second shaver, would you send the second shaver back? 6 of the 7 Talmidei Chachamim said they would not. And they cited halacha about lo tachzir davar l'akum. Don't return a lost item to those who akum is odei kochavim u'mazalot, to pagans. First, I don't consider Christians pagans. Secondly, I don't know if he knows that. Third, America treats us so right. Doctor, he should have sent it back with a letter noting he's a rabbi, just to be Mekadesh Hashem. But that's a Rabbi Riskin story, where halacha made people worse, not better. Because if they didn't have halacha, they might have sent it back. Now they feel that it's an isur to send it back. My father has been an Orthodox Jew his entire life. And he tells the story that when he enlisted to go into World War II, though he had a child, my older brother, I was born after the war, he saw all of these yeshivas cropping up in New York, so that a lot of Orthodox Jews could claim exemption to going to fight in the war because they were going to become rabbis. And as he put it, he said, so here, all these goyim are fighting Hitler, and all these frum Jews are enrolling in yeshivas not to fight him. Okay, I mean, is that it? I'm giving you stories told to me by Orthodox Jews, not things that I have made up. There are other Jews, the finest Jews I know, have tended to be Orthodox Jews. I will say that. I know of some Jews on my religious kibbutz that has been a battery of Judaism in my life, kibbutz Ein Surim, who are exemplars of kindness and decency and Judaism. They are living models of beauty. So I acknowledge that too. But it's a very mixed bag. There's no automatic result from a halachic life, merely to the extent that I would have hoped for. A man called my radio show, I'm just about to end. A man called my radio show, a non-Jewish man. Some of you may have heard this. On Fridays, the third hour, I allow any question on any subject. So man called up, said, Dennis, I'm just curious because you're a religious Jew, and I always identify myself as a religious Jew, never Orthodox. And the reason I always say I'm religious, not Orthodox, is not for my sake, it's for orthodoxy's sake. It is, because I never want to mislead people into thinking my life is an Orthodox life. It's for your sake that I always say that. Please note that, not to distance myself, but so that you're not saddled with myopic curses, if that's what you feel it is. But he said, Dennis, I got to ask you a question. I live in Los Angeles. It's a national show. It happened to be. It was perfect for our occasion in Los Angeles, in a Jewish area. And on the Sabbath, I see these men with black hats and curls, and I always say, good day, or how are you? And they never respond. He said, tell me, I'm curious, is it forbidden to talk to non-Jews on the Sabbath? That's all he could understand from the fact that they would ignore him. And my heart broke at that question. But I wonder how many even of the non-curly, the non-payas, go out of their way to say hi to a non-Jew walking by. I've watched in Pico Robertson. I lived in Pico Robertson for many years. And maybe they'd say good Shabbos to a fellow Jew, but nothing to any other person walking on the street. I mean, isn't that elementary, my dear Watson? That we're living among wonderful non-Jews and that you say to them, hi, how are you today? Great weather, huh? I mean, that's redundant in LA, great weather anyway. How many Saturdays is it not great weather? So so where do I go? Where do I go? The Reform who go to a convention and then they pass resolutions against the best president the Jews have ever had as a friend? Who pass a resolution that Washington, D.C. should have statehood? This is a great Jewish issue. That's what the Reform biannual conference passed as one of its resolutions. So, finally, my point is, we share, and this is the dividing line in America. The dividing line, and I only realized this a few years ago, is do you believe a text is divine or not? Not do you believe in God or not. The reason you and I share almost every value is because I believe the Torah is divine, you believe the Torah is divine. You also believe that the oral law is divine. You also believe that rabbinic law more or less can't change. I don't share that. Fine. But we do share that. I share with Christians. We both believe the Torah is divine. That's why Christians who believe the Torah is divine, and you share 95% of values. And you share 2% with Jews who don't believe the Torah is divine. That's the issue. That's why you share so much with Mormons. They've added the Book of Mormon, but they also believe the Torah is divine. That's the dividing line. Do you believe the Torah is divine? You and I do. We'll have more. Thank you for your time.